Alright, so welcome back. We're going to go ahead and continue solving the equations here, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. We're going to look at two examples in this video. So example number 1, we have 3x plus 1, all divided by x minus 1, and that should equal 5. So again, the idea here is what I always tell my students is when you have something that looks like this, you kind of want to get rid of the denominator. And the way we're going to go ahead and get rid of the denominator is we got to ask ourselves, well, we're dividing by it, so how do you undo division? So kind of that same idea of undoing an equation uh, plays a role here. So again, I have 3x plus 1, and I'm dividing by x minus 1. So how do I undo dividing by x minus 1? Well, I can simply just multiply by x minus 1. But if I multiply the left side by x minus 1, then I have to multiply the right side by x minus 1 as well, so that I can balance out my equation. Now on the left side, the x minus 1s are going to go ahead and reduce out, and we're going to be left with 3x plus 1 equals. Now on the right side, we have 5 times x minus 1. So what we can go ahead and do is our distributive property. So 5 times x is simply just 5x. And then we have 5 times negative 1. So 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And so now we have an equation that looks a little bit nicer than this one did up here. And the way we got there was simply by undoing our division by x minus 1. So we have 3x plus 1 is equal to 5x minus 5. Alright, so what I'd like to do is maybe get rid of these 5x's. So I'd like to maybe subtract them. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5x on the right side. But if I take away 5x on the right side, then I better take away 5x on the left side. So what this is going to allow me to do is now combine terms vertically. So 3x take away 5x, well that's just negative 2x. This 1 is going to go ahead and drop down, so plus 1. Don't forget your equal sign there. Now here we have 5x's, take away 5x's, that goes away, right? That goes to 0. So all that's left on the right side is a minus 5. Alright, so now we have a new equation to work with, which is negative 2x plus 1 equals negative 5. Now the question is, well, how do you undo that plus 1? Well, to undo an addition of 1, we can simply just subtract 1. But if I subtract 1 there, then I better subtract 1 on the other side as well. Now, what is this going to do? Well, we combine terms vertically. There's nothing happening with the negative 2x. I'm just going to drop it down. Here we have 1 minus 1. That goes away, right? We drop down our equal sign, and negative 5 take away 1. Well, negative 5 take away 1 is simply a negative 6. So now I have another equation, an easier equation to work with. I have negative 2 times x is equal to negative 6. So again, negative 2 times x. Well, how do I undo that division? How do I undo that multiplication? I kind of gave the answer away. Well, I divide by negative 2. And whatever I do to the left side, I do it to the right side. So this right here is going to go ahead and reduce, and I'm going to be left with x. And negative 6 divided by a negative 2 is 3. So we have x is equal to 3. That's pretty much it for this problem. Let's go ahead and see if we can do another one really quick. So let's look at this example here. So I'd like you to solve 28 minus 2x is equal to 5. And I encourage you to pause the video, try solving this on your own, and then hit play when you get stuck. See if you get the same answer in the end. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and copy the problem down. So I have 28 minus 2x divided by x is equal to 5. Alright, and again, I am dividing here. So I have 28 minus 2x divided by x. So I want to undo the division by x. So how would I undo the division by x? Well, I'm going to multiply this side by x, and I'm going to multiply this side by x, much like I did in the previous example. That's going to allow these two to reduce, leaving me with just 28 minus 2x equals 5 times x, which is simply just 5x. So again, I have choices here. I can go ahead and I can get rid of the negative 2x by simply adding 2 to this side, or I can choose to get rid of the 5x by subtracting 5x, but then I have to subtract 5x here. Now, again, looking at my equation, it might be a little bit easier to get my x's on this side since my numbers are already on this side. I can just move everything over here as far as my variables are concerned. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. To undo this subtraction by 2x, I'm going to go ahead and add 2x to both sides. So once I add 2x to both sides here, we drop down the 28. So we drop down to 28. This negative 2x and positive 2x are going to go ahead and cancel out. I'm going to drop down my equal sign. And 5x's plus 2 more x's, that just gives us 7x. Now what I can go ahead and do, well, I have 7 times x is 28. So 7 times x. So to undo the multiplication by 7, I can go ahead and divide. So if I divide by 7, let me just go ahead and scroll down a little bit. So if I divide by 7, these 7s are going to go ahead and reduce, leaving me with just x on the right side. And 28 divided by 7 is simply just 4. So x is equal to 4. Now that may look a little weird, so you're more than welcome to leave your answer like this, or you can simply just say, this is the same thing as just saying x is equal to 4. It really doesn't matter which way you write it.